Hello and welcome to another installment of the USO's Military Virtual Programming. I'm Becca Frucht, your host and moderator. I'm also a program officer with the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation. And we are joined today, so thrilled, Kristen Bell, actress, singer, producer, and mom. Kristen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. This is so cool to talk to people from around the world.
Yes, around the world. We have had an overwhelming response from folks all over the world. Very excited military moms, service members. This is a big one.
Awesome.
So I was wondering, I was thinking we could channel some Anna optimism.
Always.
And talk about what the silver lining has been and sort of the tough times we're having here with the pandemic.
Whew, I don't even know if Anna's found it yet. It's there though. Don't get me wrong. It's there. I think it's going to be different for everyone because everyone.
For you personally, maybe.
For me personally. Okay. Well, I will say coming at it from a place where I am in full recognition of how privileged I am, that I can take some time off work, sit next to my kid while they're doing Zoom. The amount of time I've gotten to spend with my kids when they're this young has been really, really special. And the sort of forced creativity, I think, is something that I'm really benefiting from. We can't rely on going to the movie theater or me taking you to a friend's house. We got to figure out how to start saving toilet paper rolls, grabbing some crayons, gluing googly eyes on them, playing pranks and putting them in dad's sock drawer, what have you. Or the forced, the amount that I've had to be creative around the house. And that involves also just to give the kids what I think they need or deserve. They don't have any physical activity really because they're not out chasing their friends at the park. So I'm okay, but that's a really, really important part of their lives. What do we do? Okay, so we bought some used tennis rackets and we closed the garage in the evening and they, all but give each other head injuries with those rackets, but we're teaching them to dribble and it's
like a Thunderdome.
Kind of, yes. It's like a racquetball court sort of. We've really had to come up with, we've also had to do a lot of compromising, which has been beneficial because it's kind of like the kids are going through a, family therapy, even though they don't know it. But when in the evening, if we're all bored and we want to play a game, we're going to have to agree on a game. And if I'm going to play your game, maybe you could give my game a chance tomorrow. There's a lot of talk about compromise and making sure everybody feels seen and heard. And it is an interesting time.
Yeah, you have to innovative parenting, I think is certainly the name of the game. So we actually have one of our first questions, and I want to remind all of our audience members you can submit questions with Zoom's Q&A function and just shoot those through. We'll get to as many as we possibly can since we have a lot of folks. But the first one is from Carrie Paradise, and she asked Kristen, how do you keep your humor and sanity with your kids when you feel like you're at your wit's end?
Carrie is her name who asked
Carrie.
this. First of all, Carrie, Ophelia. Let me start there. I feel like you're asking this. I know you're asking for a friend, but Carrie. I think it's this. I don't get any less frustrated than anyone else. I get very frustrated with my family. But I made a commitment a long time ago to zoom out of my life. And with that came a little bit of the ability to laugh at myself. I made a commitment to laugh at myself and say, isn't it funny that we're the only animal species that does all this, that has computers, that ornaments ourselves, that has all this civilization, and we can get so frustrated. You don't walk by a couple of hedgehogs outside and see them yelling at each other. Very rarely, I'd imagine.
Only in a Disney movie.
Only in a Disney movie. I think I keep my humor because I've agreed with myself to find the hardest things funny. And that it does, I don't always feel like laughing, but I know that that yields a better result for my life than just like keeping it bottled up inside. So if I'm trying to make dinner or whatever, and I flip the pan over, I will just take a beat and go, if this weren't me, this would be funny. I think about it from someone else's perspective. That's what I mean by zooming out. Like, if this were not me, if this was one of my friends telling me, oh, and then I flipped the pan over, I'd be like, I'm so sorry. That is kind of funny, though. I'm sorry that happened. So I think I agreed a long time ago to make a commitment to laugh at myself. I think the two commitments I like most in my life are my commitment to learn something every day and keep a growth mindset, and also to laugh at myself.
I think those are really strong coping mechanisms. And I like the idea that you're basically like, if I could watch the movie of my life, I would be laughing right now.
It would be so funny because it would just be set piece after set piece after pratfall after pratfall. Those are like terms in the film industry. A set piece is like when someone walks outside their door and then they trip over their step, and then the squirrel poops on their head, and then their mailman, whatever, yells at them. It's like thing after thing. Yeah, I think that I have to laugh at myself because it's just not as fun if you're not laughing.
Yep. Parenthood, one big set piece. We learned that from you today. So we're in a growth mindset.
100%. A growth mindset. Yeah. And also realizing that when my kids are at their most difficult, which is 23 hours a day, I constantly squeeze my eyes shut and go, they're going to be difficult for me. They're going to be difficult for 18 years. But these are the kind of women I want to release into the world. When my daughter says, you're sitting too close to me at the dinner table, or I'm sorry, I'm not eating that anymore, or whatever their opinions might be, those are the women I want to release into the world. So I don't want to tell them they have to follow all my rules just because they're my rules. I mean, within reason, obviously. But their hard-headedness, their desire to state their opinion and be heard in a group are the qualities I want them to leave this house with. So my husband and I are like, they're going to be hell on wheels for us for 18 years, but God bless, these are the women we need.
Yes, they sound like the kind of women we need. We're actually going to go live now to Karina Beard in Okinawa. So let's bring her on so she can chat with you, Kristen. Yeah. And a puppy.
Who's that?
Oh my, this is Moose. He is our quarantine puppy.
Moose. Did you just get him during quarantine?
We just rescued him a few weeks ago. Actually, it'll be 1 week yesterday. And he is
Moose.
really excited to me.
Oh my God, Moose. I don't know if you're single, but I've got a gal in this house named Barbara Biscuits, and she has got one eye, and she looks about as physically fit as you.
I think it's an international day.
Oh my goodness.
But yes, he is the only member of the family who is allowed to be up right now. So
what time
this was
is it?
perfect timing.
What time is it there?
It's 6:30 in the morning. And yes, so I'm telling my kids that I get to start the day with Anna, but my mom friends will be starting the day with Bad Moms. So
I love it. And now that we've spoken, you can tell your kids all day. Like if they're like, I don't want to eat that broccoli, go, I forgot to tell you when I was speaking to Anna this morning, she told me to make sure that you eat your broccoli. So
yeah.
Do whatever.
I think that'll work for Moose too. Yeah. But so nice that you're doing this, Kristen. I've been a longtime fan. I'm a military mom, married for 17 years. I've got 4 crazy kids who test me, I'm going to carry that mantra forward. My husband's active duty Marine, and we just went through a typhoon out here in Okinawa, so I'm just happy that we have internet and powers.
Goodness gracious. Was it scary while it was happening?
It got really loud and really whistling, but Moose was not bothered by it, so we're good. So.
Yeah, Moose seems pretty stalwart.
Moose isn't fazed by my 4 crazy kids, so I think he can handle it.
How old are your kids, Karina?
My oldest is 13, a boy, and then a 10-year-old girl, and then a twin 6-year-old.
Whoa.
And
Karina.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a big boat.
Yes, we've got our own typhoon on a daily basis.
Oh my goodness.
So, but they actually are starting.
Karina,
yes. So
my
question for you, Kristen, is just on a humorous side. As a parent, there are so many times that I'm like, oh, I just wish my kids could understand what I'm trying to teach them, or in this moment, why I'm so stressed out. If there was a concept that you could wave your magic wand and have your kids instantly understand, like an adult concept, what would you impart on them? Because their little brains sometimes just, if I have to wait 18 years for them to get this concept.
Yeah, honest to God, I think, wow, what would that be? I think, I stay up a lot at night in bed and try to think how to dumb concepts down for them. I truly do. Like, and I've hacked a couple of them, I think, of like, well, learning knowledge is food for your brain. So your tummy needs food and your brain needs words and math, and your brain actually grows just like your body does. And they were like, I never thought about it that way, because prior to that, they just like didn't want to sit down and sound out words. But I think, one thing I do take really seriously is learning every single day. And I think giving them the ability, if I wave my wand and told them that mistakes are proof that we are trying, would be the one thing I would want them to understand. Because that, I feel like, is entangled with so many things like self-esteem. Because I have one daughter that takes mistakes really seriously, and it breaks her, it just shatters her. And the other one's like, who cares? And for the older one, I really wish that I could explain to her how good it is that she is having failures in things that she tries. There's a great book by Adam Grant, who is a organizational psychologist that I just love. And if you guys do not follow him on Instagram, please make that follow right now, because he just says such inspiring words. He's like Adam Grant. He's incredible. And he wrote a book this year called Leif the Leaf. And it's actually about this concept. It's about a leaf that's scared to fall, and all of his friends are yelling at him, all leaves fall in the fall. Like, it's useless what you're doing. And he's trying to make all these contraptions so that he won't fall out of the tree, right? And he makes a net, and it falls and it splats and it doesn't work. And he tries to make a trampoline and it doesn't work. And he tries to make a rope and he gets tangled and it doesn't work. And then when he finally falls and he's just resigned to the fact that he's going to fall, he falls on top and is cushioned by all his failure ideas. And he's able, and it's this metaphor of all of those ideas are building you up. And then he just walks off and he's like, I didn't even fall. And it was because he tried so hard despite having 12 failures. And we've been reading that to our kids recently, because that's the one we're working on.
Oh, that is so awesome. Karina, thank you so much for joining us from Okinawa. We have questions pouring in, so we're going to go to our next live.
Hi, Karina.
Thank you, Kristen.
And so we're actually we're going to USO Kansas. Hello, ladies.
What's up, Kansas?
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Great. So I'm Shannon, and this is
I'm Charlene
from USO Kansas. We are located on beautiful Fort Riley, and behind me I have 4 military spouses who would love to get to talk to you about some things, Kristen. So thank you so much for doing this. And if you ever want to visit Kansas, we would love to build a snowman with you. So
look, we are planning, we haven't done them yet, but we are planning a lot of road trips. So you might be getting the call.
Look, I have a queen size blow up mattress that's got your name on it. So let me know.
I'm in.
She cooks. All right. So on to our first person. We got Miss Deidre right here. Thank you.
Hi, Kristen. I'll try and not take this for too long. As military spouses, one of the things we do is we talk about resiliency and, hunting the good stuff, deliberately looking for the positive in a situation. So with, some of your previous videos, you've talked about homeschooling and, being with your family 24/7. I was wondering, what are some of the memories that you're going to look back on and say, this never would have happened if we hadn't have had the COVID days?
Oh, wow. So many of them. The depth with which I've gotten to know my kids, like really gotten to know them beyond just the sort of parenting level I think I was at prior to this, was my husband would go, oh, she's so much like you and she's so much like me. And really we realize it's all projection, right? We're just projecting. And really this little organism is neither my husband nor I. It's a whole fresh new little organism that has its own desires and wants and needs and opinions. And one thing that really interests me in combating in my life is confirmation bias. So like the idea within family, the idea that I could even, say, oh, my husband won't like that because he doesn't XYZ, or I know him, so, and then form whatever opinion here. But the reality is, trying to wake up with a fresh perspective that I don't know, I have not lived every life, every step that my children have taken or every step that my husband has taken. Maybe my husband's favorite ice cream used to be peanut butter yesterday and today it's chocolate because he had a gross experience with peanut butter. Like, that's a silly example, but the reality is I can't really say his favorite is peanut butter because I don't know, And so the thing that I will look back on and cherish the most is how much I was able to ask more questions and listen more because of the available time that this gave us together, and the depth of questions, that it wasn't just sit down at the dinner table, quickly eat your food so we can all brush our teeth so that we can go to bed so that we can get up and do this all over in the morning. Like, there's time to sit. And I don't think since computers were invented have we as a human race had that time to really sit with each other and see each other in a whole new light and go like, is there anything I don't know about you? And I think that'll be my biggest takeaway from this, is how I've really gotten to know my family in a different way.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, who's up next?
Hi, honored to meet you. My name is Mandy. I just have a quick question about, I know some of the roles that you've played and some of your movies are not necessarily the family-friendly roles, not necessarily the down-to-earth type of person that you are, kind of like in Nikki and Burlesque, or Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, when it comes to roles like those, when your children are old enough to watch and understand and ask questions, how do you explain that to your child? And is that something that it was hard for you to get into that role?
Well, it's interesting. Since having kids, I have thought a lot about this, because sometimes when you're an actor and then you have kids, people ask you, like in interviews, well, are you going to be choosing different types of roles? And my gut just told me no, because I'm not, my acting career isn't a special curated DVD set for my child. Right. It's my acting career, and it's what I'm drawn to, and I'm allowed to be an autonomous individual. And with Sarah Marshall in the script, she was such a villain, but I saw this way, hopefully, that I could craft her into someone who was a little bit more sympathetic and was maybe making choices that the audience wouldn't agree with, but could sort of see her point of view, or at least not hate her. But as far as like the sexier ones or the more grittier ones, I don't plan on, like, I'm not like queuing up House of Lies to watch with my 5 and 7-year-old tonight,
Right.
But I'm not regretful of any of that, because I know that as my daughters grow, they'll see it when they see it, and they'll know that their mom was a fully formed individual that was able to make choices autonomously for herself and her heart. And that's what I want for them. Like, I don't really, and another person I really look up to, Glennon Doyle, like she just talks, and Brene Brown too, they talk about like, you can't really give anything to your kids that you don't have. And I want to give my kids the world, but Glennon Doyle's like, be careful how much you sacrifice for your children, because what you're teaching them is that they should grow up and be someone who sacrifices for their children, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But at the same time, when my daughter grows up, I want her to prioritize herself too. And I want her to witness me doing that, I guess. So I'm certainly grateful that there are things that I'm in that they can see, like Frozen, or I'm working on a couple of kids programming shows, like a show called Do Re Mi that'll come out on Amazon in December that I'm so proud of, that is going to teach kids music and music theory. But so I'm grateful that they can watch it, although it's a little twisted because I'm 100% positive that they assume that like everyone else's parents do TV voices, and that's like super normal to them. And I'm like, not really super normal. Yeah, I'm not sure if I answered your question, but I don't think I regret it. And I will say I have sort of a separation. It's a little bit of a separation of church and state for me, where like I will be a responsible pillar who will answer them honestly and be there as a present mom. But when it comes to my career, I think it's okay that they're not really a factor. Besides the practicality, because the reality is, would I choose a role right now if they told me you have to shoot 15 hours a day for 6 months? I'd be like, not on your life, because I would want to see them. But I kind of like that I have my own existence as well.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, our third question from Kansas.
Still in Kansas.
Love Kansas.
My name's Amanda, and I was wondering, with the craziness and the hectic life that we all live, how do you prioritize self-love for yourself? What do you do to decompress?
Let me tell you something. I work out every day, not for my body, but for my brain. I don't care what I'm doing. I don't care if I'm just picking up poop in the backyard. If I'm running from poop spot to poop spot with a baggie and I'm getting my heart rate up, I'm gonna call it a workout. Like and I tell my kids this as well. I'm like, when you see me doing a yoga video on YouTube, or if I'm going for a run, or I'm literally run up and down the driveway sometimes, I'm doing that for my brain. My brain needs those endorphins. I know myself. So working out is something I loathe 100%, but I absolutely prioritize at least 20 minutes a day. And let me be honest, it is rarely over 20 minutes. And when it's over 20 minutes, it's like 24 minutes. So I'm not like trying to ace this test. I'm just trying to stay sane and with a little bit of mental clarity. But getting my heart rate up, I notice a dramatic difference in my attitude, in my ability to have any sort of resilience against adversity, whether it's from the outside world reading the news or my daughter giving me an attitude about dinner. I'm so much calmer if I'm working out. And the other thing is, I've realized only as I've been in my like late 30s that I am so much more of an introvert than I thought. I think my codependency infected the majority of my life, which I don't regret that. I'm glad it got me where I am. But there are plenty of times when my family's running around the living room and my sister's over and we're having a big family dinner, and I'll go, every molecule in my body right now wants to go into my room and just listen to an audiobook for 15 minutes. That's all I want to do. And I told my husband about this, and he was like, okay, well, you should do it. First of all, thanks for telling me and not letting me just like wonder why my wife is sneaking away to talk to all her lovers or whatever he assumed I was just doing in here. But I think giving myself the permission to follow my instincts when I needed less stimulus is a big part of self-care for me. Pre-COVID, when we'd have like family get-togethers, we have 4 families that are really good friends, and it's a lot of hustle and bustle. Even if we're at their house, I'll go up into an upper bedroom and I'll just play Words with Friends for 20 minutes on my phone, because I need less noise, I need less visuals, and I just want to be in here. I just want to balance myself and be in here for a little bit. And I realized this when I was like 38. There's only been a couple years that I've been practicing this, giving myself the permission to retreat, as opposed to feeling the codependency of being the host, being the one telling a funny story at the table, or just being present so that everybody knows I'm happy to be here. I've taken that stress off my plate and I've allowed myself to retreat when I need it, and it has been a game changer. And I'm kind of doing it unapologetically now. I'm like, I just need a couple minutes alone.
Yeah, don't need to apologize for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It took me forever to learn how to do that.
Thanks so much. And now we've got our last question, and then we've got to hop back into more locations.
Hello. Sorry. Hello, Kristen. My name is Tanabi, and I have a big family, so I was just wondering what you guys do as a family for fun. What is your favorite thing?
We have a lot of dance parties. We do a lot of interpretive dance in our household, which means if you feel it, move it, shake it, use it, dance like no one's watching. We will put on, it's usually musical theater. That's what the girls really like. But like we'll put on the Wicked soundtrack or the Rent soundtrack or the Annie soundtrack. They lately have been putting their roller skates on and grabbing brooms and doing It's a Hard Knock Life in the living room when they like don't even understand what chores are. In the evening, to get their sillies out before bed, we started this when they were toddlers. We'll just put on a song, and sometimes my husband will choose it, and it's like yacht rock. It really doesn't matter the song. And we just are all moving and jumping up and down off the couch and picking them up and swinging them. But we're doing it too, fully and completely, like big dance party, to just show them like, get all your energy out with reckless abandon. And there's something really freeing about that. So we do that almost every night for like at least 10 minutes. And then my husband races a lot of RC cars with the girls, which is really cute. The other thing we'll do in the evenings is he has these things called Traxxas. I don't know if anyone knows what Traxxas is, but if anyone in your family rides RC or drives RC cars, they're like these big remote control cars, and he sits out there and encourages them to steer slowly and figure it out. So there's oftentimes in the evening we will go out into the driveway, and the three of them will just be setting up obstacle courses for their little remote control vehicles.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. My kids love to sing and dance too, so thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So
nice
awesome.
to meet
Thank you so much, USO Kansas.
Thank you. That was all for Kansas.
Bye, Kansas.
Bye.
Such good questions. And I want to call out, we've got 218 locations joining us from 13 countries and 45 US states and territories. So it is a big
cool
virtual dance party that we're basically having right now for you, Kristen. So Belgium, Germany, Ghana, Guam, Iraq, Italy, Japan, Okinawa, Singapore, South Korea, Spain, United Kingdom, US. I mean, it's big. So
everybody's here.
Everybody's here. So our next question is from Ashley, and she's at the recruit training.
Hey. Lily, I'm starting my video right now.
Awesome.
Well, hello.
Hello.
It's chaos. Welcome to motherhood in my house.
Ashley, what is going on over there?
You know, quarantine's got us like, we're ready to get out of this house.
Yeah, well, they're not being quiet, so there's probably less mischief. When you can hear them, it's always better.
Exactly. I've got my quarantine mama here, my best friend in Illinois. So where, you know, kids just go awry whenever things start. So
yep.
The whole entire time we're like, yeah. And then this happens. Anyway, we're both Navy spouses, and we have huge Frozen fans. So my question to you is, Theo, a Disney not-so-princess, Dwayne Johnson, recently showed a video of him and his daughter watching Moana, and he was singing the Maui song, Thank You. And she refuses still to recognize that he is Maui. So I'm curious if your girls are on board with you as Anna's voice, or you're actually still having to convince them.
This is heartbreaking to say every time I say it. They very much know that I'm Anna because I brought them to work. There are a couple of those recordings of those actual songs where they were sitting in the room with me, like coloring.
That's awesome.
In the first one of them was in my belly for a couple of the songs. They know, they're very clear. It's why they get to see it early. You know what I mean?
True.
They saw Frozen 2 in like October of last year.
Mm.
They could care less.
Aww.
They don't like it when I sing around the house. Mommy, shh, 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 mommy. They don't. I can barely get away with lullabies. I used to before they knew that I sang like in movies, and I could sing them to sleep and they liked it. But now all they want is daddy to sing. And when we have our like dance parties in the evening and something good comes on and I start singing, they will literally stop and just give me the stink eye. I don't know what they don't want me to taint the project that they love, I think. Because having your mom involved is like just kind of uncool.
Yeah. I have an 11-year-old, so I totally understand that.
Yeah, they know. They're just like, I don't want to think about you like in it. And I'm like, okay, but I'm really cool and you don't get that. So I guess stalemate, right? Who's this?
Oh, I think y'all are on mute over there.
You're muted, my love. Unmute.
It is sometimes.
There we go.
There we go. Who's this?
It is Levi.
Hi, Levi. Oh, look at all your pudding. You got good pudding, Levi.
Yeah.
You got that good pudding.
Say hi.
Say hi.
Well, Kristen, I wanted to let you know, speaking about singing, your kids may not want you to sing, but we're getting a lot of requests for you to sing.
Oh, Lord. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Like if I'm putting that out there, you if the spirit moves you, feel free to belt anything out.
Okay, the spirit moves me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet
Ashley,
you
and
guys.
everyone in Illinois. Cheers.
Hi, Levi.
Okay. Bye. So great. So now we are headed to Heather, who is at Quantico, Marine Corps Base at Quantico. So let's see what Heather has going on. Hello.
Hi.
Heather.
Wait, I'm so excited to meet Anna.
Nice to meet you too.
My girls are like upstairs. I can see them spying around the corner. They were like, I want to see her too. I was trying to explain though, you're not dressed up in the same clothing.
No, it's very disappointing. Tell them it's going to be very disappointing.
Well, if they heard you, it wouldn't matter because they can hear your voice. They know. It's like they heard Kristoff on Hamilton and they were very confused. Why is Kristoff there?
Right.
That's not Kristoff.
And that's a crazy character for him to be playing because he's sort of mean and sassy and it's very unlike Kristoff. My daughters had the same reaction. They're like, is that Jonathan?
He's just Kristoff to us.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, you've obviously done roles, in person and then voice recording too. When you do voice recordings, you're in a booth by yourself, I assume. Is that weird when you're not having that kind of interaction, or is that something you were able to learn and get used to doing, or?
It's a little weird in the beginning, but I actually favor it. I don't know what that says about me, but maybe my inner introvert can just thrive. But there's two different things I love, because being on set when you're acting with someone, they could do a ton of things that surprise you and that change your reaction, and that's like a really fun wave to ride. It's sort of like playing a basketball game where you have to like stay in the moment and who's going to pass to you. So there's like a lot of adrenaline and it's fun. In the voiceover recording booth, you are very rarely with someone else. You're always with your directors who read the other lines. Like Jen Lee and Chris Buck read our lines with us on Frozen. There's only two songs on Frozen. Frozen 1, I sang Love is an Open Door with Santino. And then in Frozen 1, I sang the like final fight scene, the one where Elsa and Anna go, actually, we're not. What do you mean?
Oh, she's singing.
Oh. That one I did with Adina, but I think I like to read a script and really picture the melody of the lines in my head. I don't know if that makes sense, but like the tempo and the cadence someone will use. Right. And to me, that will sort of shape the story, like how intense it is that someone says it. Like when I read a script, I'm not just reading the words, I'm like putting an emotional temperature on each line so that I can build in the scenes and figure out why the movie's important, or end it and go, this movie had no point. So when I'm in the booth, there's solo, there's something really challenging and interesting about just being able to use one tool and get it all done, right? Like tell a complete story with one tool. I mean, granted, in Disney, they videotape you, like there's 2 cameras while you're recording, so they can see whether you're going or whatever facial stuff. And then they give that to the animators, which is kind of cool.
Oh, neat.
But it would be like if I handed you a hammer and I was like, build a house. And you'd be like, okay, let me try. There's something, but then you could actually do it, you know?
Right.
There's something really challenging about that I love.
That's really cool.
Well, thanks so much for such an
thank
interesting question, Heather. We got to get
Yeah,
into
thank
it.
you, Heather.
I have 2 short questions for my girls, if you don't mind.
Yes, hit
I
me.
promise I could ask. My 4-year-old wants to know if you have a Lego Anna at home.
Of course.
Of yourself.
But like her head is nowhere to be found.
Or her hair, right? The hair was missing. Yeah.
Hair is missing, head is missing, but her dress we do. And I think she currently has like a Batman head on her.
That's totally awesome.
Yeah.
Creativity. And then my 7-year-old wants to know what your favorite book is.
My favorite book?
Yes.
Ooh.
She's a reader, so that's like her thing.
7-year-old?
My 7-year-old, yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, Babysitter's Club rules if she reads chapter books.
She does. She just finished Harry Potter #4, so.
Oh, girl. Okay. We're beating the same heart here. Okay. Here's what I'm going to recommend, the ones I love. Any of the Chris Colfer novels.
Ooh. Yeah.
Chris Colfer writes, like, he was one of the characters on Glee. He writes epic fairy tale books that we listen to on Audible at night, and my girls love them. Wayside School, if she hasn't read Wayside School, have you? I mean, those, they genuinely make me laugh as an adult. And there's a book that is called Quackenstein. It's a kid's book, but it's by a woman named Sudipta Bardhan-Quallen, which no one will remember that name because it's something we haven't heard very often, but it is got beautiful language in it. It's a rhyming book, but it's about this old crotchety duck named Quackenstein who is jealous that all the other zoo animals have babies, and he decides to adopt an egg, and when the egg cracks, it looks completely different than him, and it's about him overcoming his fear and to love that baby. It's really beautiful, but the language in it is what's so incredible because she uses 3, 4, 5 syllable words in these rhymes, and it's poetic.
It's not Dr. Seuss.
No, it's a little bit more intense, but I love it. Yeah, that's
awesome.
Top 3.
Thank you. They'll appreciate that. They're waving over there.
Bye. All right, so we've got a submitted question that we'll go to now. So, how do you find audition monologues that are right for you?
Wow. I would say you have to find something in the piece that you can identify with from your real human point of view. Like even if the monologue you're playing a robot, but it's about a robot who lost their dog. If you've lost your dog and experienced that nervousness of like, I can't find my dog, or we've got to put up wanted posters, this is so nerve-wracking. If you can click into any detail in the monologue, I would say it could be right for you. It's so different for everyone. I think it has to really be instinctual. So, it's less of a piece of advice and more saying like, you got to read as many as humanly possible until one clicks for you. Because you'll know it when it clicks for you. And if you're given a monologue and you don't connect to it, maybe you're not ready to be that far outside of yourself. I always find that when I'm acting or like when I take 6 months off or a couple months off or something, and then I come back and get a job, I'm like, I forgot how to act. I forgot, what do I do? Start slow and don't beat yourself up. But if you can find something that you connect to, one thing, then it's probably right for you.
That question actually came from Christina Lacey, and her daughters are getting BFAs in theater, performance, and production. So, and they're looking at, they want to go into musical theater and acting. So that advice is so helpful for her gals.
Yeah. And I would say also, if they've ever seen anything, even if they're wrong for it, if you've seen something that's moved you, like I auditioned with a piece from Ragtime for my college admissions to NYU. And you wouldn't think that I would ever be cast in the same role as Audra McDonald, who's like we couldn't be more different physically. She's got this huge register, but I connected to this one song she had. And when I was sitting in the theater watching Ragtime when I was like 16 or 17, I was like, oh my gosh, that speaks to me. And, you know, this sort of contradicts what I just said. I didn't experience anything that she was saying in the song, but it moved me. So also, if there's something you've seen that moves you, take a crack at it, and take a crack at it maybe from a different point of view, you know?
Yeah, because I think one of the things that she was looking at is like how to get noticed. How do you, break through? And it sounds like what you're really saying is like what's authentically you and speaks to you, that will allow you to kind of to show up at an audition in a way that maybe others won't as much.
Yeah, and it's really true, because then you won't look like you're faking it, because you're not. You were moved emotionally. You did tap into that thing that you can't explain that makes your chest burn when you're watching a movie or a TV show, or, you know, where you're just like, oh, I feel that. Or, you know, when you tap into that, that's how you know that's your piece.
So another question from Andy J. Andy J loves your new book, The World Needs Purple People. And it's such an important topic to talk to our children about. What did you gain your inspiration from? And do you have any advice on how to talk to our kids about acceptance and inclusion?
Whoa, yes. Well, hold on, Andy. I'm going to get it because I kind of want to point something out in the book. Oh, you're going to see half my bedroom, guys. Hold on. Big butt coming in screen. Okay. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, this book, The World Needs More Purple People, I wrote this with my friend Ben Hart. Children's books are written 2 years in advance. So we wrote this 2 years ago when we were sitting around. There are two little hands coming under the door and trying to open the doorknob. It's locked, guys. Mommy's working. They're literally like under the door and they're going. So we were at like a family barbecue, and Ben and I were talking about the fact that we were talking about politics, I'm sure. And even though most of our friends agree, there's still this argumentative way we talk about it. Everything, the news, everything. And we just were like, wow, our kids are absorbing all this divisiveness, and they're absorbing this sort of us and them feeling before we've even had a chance to like talk to them about the fact that we're all just people, right? There doesn't really have to be an us and them. And so we wrote this book. We were like, how do we get people to see each other, hear each other, and really work together, which is what this country needs and deserves. And so we were like, our kids are seeing two sides, red and blue. So how do we create a narrative and put some like social identity stuff in there? And we thought, oh my gosh, purple, that's perfect. Purple. Because some purple people feel blue sometimes, some people feel red sometimes, and that's okay. But what we decided to do was put pillars in the book of things that no one could disagree on. And this took some time, but let me tell you what they are. Okay?
No, this is serious research y'all would have had to have done.
Step one, ask really great questions. Find me a person that's like, don't ask any questions. I mean, maybe there is, but that person's lame. Step two, laugh a lot. Because it's impossible to be angry if you're laughing. Like legitimately, I think we say in our book, try it, I dare you. Everyone agrees with laughing a lot. Everyone agrees that you should use your voice and don't lose your voice, that you should have a point of view. So we went through these sort of 5 pillars that we wanted to expose our kids to, so that, to be honest, they took seriously their opinions, their point of view, and the research needed to come to those opinions and point of view. So Purple People is about a group of people that don't leave anyone out. We talk about in the book how purple people look all sorts of ways. They come in every single color. Some of them have green hair. And in the book, what I really love that we did, being someone that's so focused on mental health, is we had some of the characters don't even look happy. Mm-hmm. Because that can be a purple person too. And it occurred to us as we were making this, and Daniel Weissman, our delicious, there's so much glare, illustrator, we were like, can you have some of the kids look sad or mad? Because I don't know that I've cracked open a children's book where there was a visual of a child that was mad or sad, and it wasn't like the point of it. It was just like, that's a face people have sometimes. You don't always have to be happy.
Just normalizing that.
Yeah, normalizing it. So we talk to our kids about it through this book. We talk a lot about what it means to be a purple person. And the final pillar of being a purple person is just be you, the real you. And the final line is because you're the only you we've got.
So we just actually like, it's like a callback to Karina's question too at the beginning, and which she was asking, like, how do you get your kids to understand adult concepts? And I think Purple People is so good at that.
Yeah, I mean, we hope so. We've certainly seen a lot of people love it, and I'm so grateful for it. And I think especially in this election year, I think it's good to have language for our kids that, like, it's okay. It's okay if you're a family that can't talk politics at the dinner table. You don't have to hate each other. It's okay if if your neighbor believes something different than you can still be kind and civilized. And what we need is for people to be a little bit more purple, meaning they're trying to use critical thinking, they're asking great questions, they're laughing a lot together, and they're being uniquely themselves. And that there is a possibility that we can all be purple and love one another.
Yes, purple. Love and listen. That's what Purple People do.
Yeah.
So good. Well, we are going to go to Jamie and Riley. We're at the Schofield Barracks. So let's get them in. Hello.
Hello.
We're just going to take y'all off mute. I don't know if someone can make sure we can hear y'all.
Can we get you off?
Jamie, aloha, welcome to Hawaii. So tradition in Hawaii is you get a lei upon arrival. So you're virtually here.
Thank you, thank you.
And it was a purple lei, well chosen.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm Jamie. Nice to meet you. I am a big fan of yourself, Anna too, but yourself mostly. My question is, what is your favorite go-to meal to cook for your family?
Oh, I mean, I will say it changes on the night based on my interest level in cooking for them. No, I do really, really love to cook. I will say I've cooked less during this quarantine because I do believe that if you are a family that can order out, you should be we are supporting our local restaurants to try to keep them in business. So we've been like, yeah, okay, well, I can make dinner once a week, but the other times, if we can afford it, let's keep those restaurants in business. People need jobs. This economy needs to keep turning. My favorite thing I think to make, I really like soups. I really like soups because you kind of can't go wrong. And also, if you've ever seen Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat on Netflix, have you watched that? It is so good. Nasim, the cook on there, she sort of teaches you why you need a little bit of salt, a little bit of fat, a little bit of acid, a little bit of heat in every dish. But like a butternut squash soup where I will either cut a fresh one or buy one cut up and then put in some shallots. And the way to do shallots or an onion in a pan ahead of time, my sister, who's a great cook, taught me you put a little bit of cream sherry in it while they're sauteing in the pan, and they make like epic tasting sauteed onions, and adding that to anything. And I made one this week. Also, soups are like easy and you only need one pot and you're just like, this is the meal. I don't know, slurp it down. You know, I kind of set options for you. I made a gazpacho, which I was really happy with. We have a little garden and I'd gotten a whole bunch of tomatoes at the exact same time, which if anyone grows a garden and like everything comes in 2 days, you're like, no, I'm supposed to have this over 6 months. What do you mean? So they were all ripe at the same time, and I cored them, put them in the food processor with a little bit of onion, a red pepper, a green pepper, and then I used sherry vinegar, a little bit of cream sherry, and then I added a smoked olive oil. Let me tell you, the smoked olive oil, it hit it out of the park. So soups are definitely my favorite because it's like one food processor. You can't really burn them. They're easy to digest. Chances are they're made with a lot of vegetables, and then my family will hopefully eat. So soups are my go-to.
My daughter Riley.
Hi, Riley.
Would you build a snowman?
Come on, let's go and play.
I never see you anymore. Come out the door. It's like you've gone away.
We used to be best buddies, and now we're not.
Wish you would tell me why.
Do you want to build a snowman? It doesn't have to be a snowman.
That was incredible. Okay, Riley, I have to say that was sneaky and good. You got Kristen to sing, and
Riley for the win.
Could have done it.
She outsmarted me. She outsmarted me. I took the
And she loves sloths as well, Kristen. Her bathroom is decorated in sloths.
Yes, Riley, you're my people.
Beautiful. That was so wonderful. Jamie and Riley, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure all the audience members out there are like, Riley, we love you. You guys
Riley's the MVP.
MVP. And I'm just like, for Clint, because that movie just kills me. I have a sister, and you know how it is. It's just,
Oh, yeah.
forget it. Okay, so we have some more submitted questions. So this is from Sarah Rice. What would you tell young Kristen, or before kids Kristen, now? What do you wish you had known about parenting or working?
Oh, that perfection is a myth. That perfection is a myth. Trying is what's important. I think that rings so true to me. You know, when I was doing The Good Place, the whole final season of The Good Place ended up being about trying is what's important. It's not important that you were the perfect person and any of these moral philosophers were correct or better than the other. It's just that, did you try? Did you just try? And I think that I spent so many years with a nervous belly around failure. That's one of the reasons that I'm trying to instill in my daughters that the trying is what's important. Even like, you know, in Leif the Leaf book, like the discarded ideas, they'll help you climb. So yeah, I would also just say chill, worry less. If Cher once said to me, if it doesn't matter in 5 years, it doesn't matter. And I was like, I'm going to get that tattooed on my low back.
Yes. Also, Cher said it, so it should be a tattoo. Right?
100%.
All of Cher. Love that question. We got your wisdom and Cher. I mean, what else can one ask for? So another question from Natalie Murray. And so she says, screen time for your kids. Be honest.
Natalie, it's COVID. All bets are off. There are no clocks anymore. There are no days anymore, Natalie. I mean, honest to God, we used to be good about it where they would watch TV on the weekends, and we would let them go for broke on the weekends. Cause I also don't want them to feel like they're restricted. So like we would sleep in on the weekends till like 9, they'd wake up at 7 and they'd watch TV till 12 or 1. I mean, that's a hot block of television, I'll tell you that much, 4 or 5 hours, and they're grumpy as hell afterwards. But we needed the break on the weekends. We try to have a rule in my family that every day you got to do one thing for your brain, one thing for your body. And then beyond that, as long as you do your schoolwork, you're sort of allowed to do what you want. We used to have an only on the weekends TV rule. And we've been very, very lenient since this pandemic has happened because I think they've needed it, an escape, to escape their worries. You know, they want to turn on the TV and they want to watch Nickelodeon and zone out and not think about the fact that they should be extra worried about their grandparents during this time. Like, we've needed it because we've had to try to make pretty weird family decisions about who we're going to see, or just like we wanted to turn, all the noise of the world off. And we want them in front of the TV so we can take a minute. So look, there haven't been many rules, Natalie, I'm going to be honest. But one thing that we've been striving for that makes me feel a little bit better is we've tried to, in the evenings, watch TV together to make it a little bit more interactive, like we're experiencing something, like a movie, create like a movie theater vibe. Because there's something to me different between that and then just turning on the TV mindlessly. So we a couple nights ago, we watched Harry and the Hendersons together. We watched Back to the Future, or we watch any of the happy reality shows. We'll watch Nailed It or Great British Bake Off or The Great Flower Fight on Netflix, my kids love, or any David Attenborough nature show. And we sit there as an event, all four of us, and we do it together. So we're able to have physical interaction because we're snuggling, and we all get to kind of take a breather at the end of these really weird days. So Natalie, no, I'm not doing a great job is the answer.
No, I think everyone would agree that you're doing a wonderful job. You're being very thoughtful and intentional about the screen time stuff. It's a tough question. It really is.
I just don't think you can beat yourself up right now. I just think everybody has to work with grace for themselves, grace for everyone around them. We're living in close quarters. Everybody is. There's so much weirdness in the world. It's like, if you want to pop on the television, just do it. Do it. Nobody's life's going to be ruined because 1 year of your life you watched more TV, you know?
For sure. Have grace. It's okay to have the remote in your hand. So we're going to wrap it up here because our time with you, unfortunately, is coming to an end. So we have a question from Myros G. Okay. What made you want to do this with military families?
Oh, it was a no-brainer. I'm so incredibly grateful to live in this country, and I wouldn't be living here without the military families, the ones serving and the families that are living alongside them. It's hard to put into words. The country that you're providing citizens like me with to live in with my children and raise, I could never possibly articulate how thankful I am. Because of the sacrifices you and your family members are making, I benefit, and I don't get to thank you on a daily basis. So me doing something like this and locking my bedroom door and telling my kids to get gone because I want to try to interact a little bit and tell you how thankful I am for the decisions you're making for this country and the people that live in it and the people all across the globe. I will never be able to articulate how grateful I am.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, Kristen, and sharing your time. We've had so many, as you heard, all those countries, military moms, service members who joined us today, and it meant a lot to them. And I still shout out to Riley for getting you to sing. That was so special.
Riley is the MVP. There's no doubting that.
She's the MVP of MPV. So
yes.
For all y'all out there, if you want to continue to watch all of our series as they continue to come out, make sure and check in with the USO, social media, and all that good stuff. Kristen, thank you so much for joining us. This has
absolutely. I would love to do it again. Let's check in on each other. In a couple months, let's do another one.
Let's make it happen. We'll get the gang back together.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you, guys. Mwah, mwah. Thank you so much for your service.